Good morning, and welcome to another segment of the Author's Corner. I am Melinda Reed Stevens, owner of Stevens Book Agency LLC, and the president and founder of Grace Visionary Authors Guild. On Saturday, September 14th, the city of Lake Charles, along with the Literacy Council of Southwest Louisiana, will be hosting the South Coast Book Festival. This will be a wonderful opportunity for the citizens of our city to come out and meet local authors as well as authors from the state of Louisiana. Joining me today in the Author's Corner is Jill Deville. Ms. Deville is the president and founder of Jill Deville World Ministry. She is also a published author and will be featured at the book festival. Good morning, Ms. Deville. Thank you so much for joining me today in the Author's Corner.
Good morning. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. We're so glad to have you. Our purpose today is to get our listening audience acquainted with Ms. Jill Deville. So let's begin by sharing a little bit about yourself. Are you a native of Lake Charles?
No, I'm from Balls Parish, and I have a husband for 32 years. I'm a mother of three. My oldest just turned 27.
Wow, okay.
And 3 grandbabies. And I have a little church in Basile, Louisiana, called Gift Ministry of Louisiana. And I have these books that I write in the ministry for different events. I travel all over the world to speak at.
Well, wonderful. And again, we're just so happy to have you with us today. And I would also like to just ask you a few questions about your book, about the writing process. So let's begin. When did you first decide that you wanted to become a writer?
It was during COVID. We were stuck at home, and it's always during long suffering. I was just sharing that with someone that it always happens during some sort of long suffering moment in our lives. But the first one was during COVID, because you was all of a sudden your whole world changed.
Right, exactly. Okay, exactly. What is your favorite types of books to read?
Faith, Christian faith, nonfiction.
And why is that?
Just to learn more. I'm always trying to learn more about the Lord or the Word of God or other experiences people have had with the Word of God.
Okay. Now, I see you have several books here. As an author, what is your favorite part about writing?
It's like when I write the sermons. It's like when you are writing something that you pray for before you start. It's almost, I don't like to use the word trance, but God always reminds me about Daniel. But it's like you get this one-on-one connection with the Lord and nothing else exists. It's like you're just writing and writing. It's like he's downloading into you is how I feel.
Okay. So now your genre of writing, is it faith-based, inspirational?
Yes, it's all faith-based, inspirational. The goal is to show what you know. That's the tagline I use on everything. Like, you can't just know all this stuff and not show it. We have to have our access to the Lord and what he has to offer, because he says in heaven and on earth.
Right, exactly. What advice would you give to someone that has the desire to write but not quite sure how to begin the process?
Prayer first, always, just explaining to God, like, you want to write and you have a desire to write, but then just write. Don't worry about if you said it already or editing or any of that. To me, I just write and then come back and see what we need to do and fix.
Okay, so then your writing process is just to write
Just
as it flows to you, and then after you begin to write, what's the next step?
I always start with the cover. I know I'm backwards, but I always start with the cover. I got the cover. I'm looking at the cover, and that keeps, because I like to, like, I'm here and then I'm there and I'm all over the place. So it keeps me grounded. So I stay on the topic, and then that way I just edit a few little things at the end when I'm finished. But that's what I do to stay focused on that topic.
So now, as you're staying focused, are there any unexpected challenges that you may face as you're writing?
Oh yeah, the phone or just life or things you got to do, so then you just get distracted from it or anything like that. I just like to suggest to just get by yourself somewheres and just kind of do something completely different. Go shopping, go to the store, go run an errand, do something to just forget about it a minute and then come back to sit. because I find that helps to like reset. It does some kind of
Right.
reboot.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Now, I see that you have several books with you today, and we're just so glad that we have this opportunity to share with you in your books. So, what I'd like for you to do is just take a moment and let's talk about each book.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you could, it will begin with the first book here on the left here. Can you share the title of the book? What inspired you to write that book?
Okay. Show What You Know is where it all began at. It was whenever I read in the book of James, the Lord just kept saying, show it. You got to show it. All this knowledge you have is not going to cut it. You got to actually live it. So whenever I was doing all the writing for sermons and stuff, I was like, I need something where it's, so those are my first 10 sermons I ever preached.
Okay.
So that's where I put that book and that foundation of that book into place. And that was written during COVID season.
Right. And the title?
It's Show What You Know, Change Your Mind, Mouth, and Motives.
Very good, very good. Okay. The second book?
The second and the third and fourth are all part of the Show What You Know series. So the second book is The Inheritance. It's about not giving your pearls to pigs. A lot of times people think, well, when you think of a dog or a pig, you're thinking of like the worst possible people.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus said this. So then it starts making you think, why did Jesus call people pigs and dogs? So then it breaks down what a pig and dog is, from service dogs to friends to that little pet dog to show dogs. And it breaks down that we give all this information to these show dogs and friends and pets and strays and all that. And we don't take into accountability that they're going to take that information and tear us to pieces, even a pastor or a family member. Mm-hmm. And it shows you how to go to God with it first, and to really indulge in what He wants you to do about it instead of what they think you should do about it. Okay. And Armor Up is about the full armor of God. It teaches you fun ways to make sure you put on the full armor of God every single day. And not leave home without it. God taught me, He says, you don't leave home with deodorant, so why do you leave home without that armor?
That's right.
That protection. And endure is about how we endure so much, but in that endurance, we do gain joy and perseverance, as He promises. The new parable books I'm doing is No Place Like Heaven and Eternally Ever After. I loved the Disney princesses as a kid and Wizard of Oz as a kid. And Jesus always teaches me how to write in parables. I love doing stuff like that for sermons and all of that. So I took each character and made them relatable, how to walk by faith, like Dorothy, how to renew your mind, like the Scarecrow, how to have courage, and that we had the power all along, like Glenda teaches us. And also my daughter reminded me one day in a heated conversation about dating that not everybody does realize that the princesses go through dying to the flesh. She says, we died to the flesh, Mom, just like they did. And it just snapped something inside of me. I was like, yeah, you're right. We have to die to the flesh to be risen by our prince, and that's what that book's about.
Now, you so vividly explained your book, what each is about. But how has your life, your personal journey, affected your writing with your books?
With my books, in 2021, I started getting a lot of problems with my head and my eye and my ear. So I started going to the hospital and going to the doctors. I was like this guinea pig. And so then they determined I had something massively wrong with my brain. And nobody knew how to fix it. Nobody knew what to do. They just kept giving me different medicines. And I was like, I got to get the Word of God in something that people can have and keep, whether if it's just my husband or just my children or just the congregation, something. And that's what I endured 4 brain surgeries in the last 2 years. And that's what birthed all of this.
Wow.
And all this change.
Yeah. Oh, what a testimony. What a story. Now, has there ever been a time where you may have experienced writer's block, where you start and you're not sure?
Oh, yes. And whenever you finish, you tend to want to change the whole book. It's like you have to stop at some point and be like, no, this is good. This was what I was saying when I was saying it. And that is the part that blocks me up the most, when I'm finished and I feel like I gotta mess with it constantly.
Right. Okay.
Before I actually.
Yeah. Okay. And I think as a writer and a published author myself, there are times when we want to add something to it, but God is saying, that's enough.
Yes.
You know, God is saying
Yes.
that's enough. So I can understand that. Matter of fact, I'm working with a young lady right now, and she was sharing to me that that God is telling her that what she has is enough. Sometimes we want to add something else to the book, but
Yes.
God is saying, that's it. So now you mentioned that you're currently working on, what is the name of it?
Eternally Ever After.
Okay, and why that book? Why that title?
That one is, we had done a conference about a year ago, and it was about every person that was a speaker was one of the princesses, Belle or Cinderella, and the goal was you had to take their message and relate it to your life. And Snow White stood out the most for me because somebody's always after your heart to kill you, like spiritually, if not literally. They always, even in ministry, they're after your heart to hurt you. And it just really, from the woman at the well at the beginning scene to the mirror on the wall being made in the image of God, my mind just opens when I see cartoon characters. For some reason, I've always been a toy collector. I have all kind of 80s toys in this room, and that's kind of what inspires me with the parables, is you see the character and then you start relating it to the Word of God because you have that downloaded inside.
Very good. Oh, wow, so interesting. Now, how can our listening audience purchase your books?
I have a website. It's JillDevilleWorldMinistry.com, and it links to, and then you can get it anywhere books are sold, Amazon, and Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. Anytime you just put in any of the names or my name, it should pull up. If not, you go to my website. That way it'll get to you. Yeah.
Well, Jill, thank you so much for being a part of the Author's Corner. I'm just so grateful to God for our friendship.
Me too.
That He has blessed you and I to share. And to our listening audience, please visit her website to purchase her books. And we say to you, God bless you, and thank you for being a part of the Author's Corner.
God bless you too.
To our listening audience, if you need more information about the South Coast Book Festival, please visit the City of Lake Charles website. And if you want more information or to view other segments of the Author's Corner, we are on social media at Grace Visionary Authors Guild, Stevens Book Agency LLC, and we are starting a YouTube channel, which is the Author's Corner at Grace Visionary Authors Guild. So again, we thank you for being a part of our listening audience, and have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.